कृपा प्रभाभिः कृष्णान्यतृष्णजनसंहितानां निर्मूलिता एव भवन्ति तस्मै नमो नमः श्रीलनरोत्तमाय ऐनन्दतनुजकिङ्करां पतितां मां विषमे भवां कृपया तव पादपङ्कजस्थितधूलिसदृशं चिन्तय नयनं कलदश्रुधारय वदनं गद्गदरुद्धया गिरा पुलकैर्निचितैर्वपुकदा तव नाम गृहणे भविष्यति मुखं करोति वाचालां पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातम् अहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यदेवं नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं उदीरयेत् तथापि कीर्तयामि अङ्गा यदा मतिं यदा श्रुतं कीर्तिं हरिं स्वां सत्कर्तुं गिराम् अन्याभिधासतिम् स्थितिर्सेवा गतिर्यात्रा स्मृतिश्चिन्ता स्तुतिर्वाचः भूयत् सर्वात्मनः विष्णु मयीत्यं त्वयि चेष्टितम् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मन्त्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्मापि एकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा Devotees, Hare Krishna. We'll go ahead. Gita Pravaham. So what did we hear in Gita Pravaham so far? We heard the significance of Bhagavad Gita, the summary of Bhagavad Gita. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th chapters of Bhagavad Gita. And in the first chapter, Arjuna had reasons of why not to fight. In the second chapter, Lord Krishna gave the reasons why Arjuna should fight and fight like a Nishkama Karma Yogi. So Nishkama Karma Yoga was described in second, third, explained in second, third, and fifth chapters. And in the fourth chapters about the transcendental knowledge. And in the fifth chapter, Lord Krishna explains about Gunatita Sthiti, transcendental position, how to attain that platform. So the Lord describes how it can be attained through Ashtanga Yoga. That's in sixth chapter. There we also heard the comparison of Ashtanga Yoga to Bhakti Yoga. And at the end of the sixth chapter, Lord Krishna says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgater antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same tattamo mataha. So that's why Lord Krishna explains about himself to be a Bhakti Yogi, for all the Bhakti Yogis to meditate upon him. Lord Krishna explains about himself, and that constitutes the 7th to 12th chapter, the Bhakti Yoga chapters. Yeah. So in the 7th chapter, we heard about Bhakti, Bhagavad Tattva, Jiva Tattva, 4 types of people that come towards the Lord, the 4 types of thinking that push us away from the Lord, like that. Demigod worship and impersonal worship. The same topics are touched in the 9th chapter. They are like twins. And in the 9th chapter, more glories of Krishna Bhakti are explained. And in the 8th chapter is about the Prayana Kale. That is the soul leaving the body. And the 10th chapter is more like a Samambonam. There, the Lord explains how He is the source of everything that is existing, everybody that is existing. And the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita is present in the 10th chapter. After that, the Lord explains the Vibhutis, His Vibhutis, of how He is present in this Brahmanda. And the same thing He shows to Arjuna in the 11th chapter, in the Vishwarupa Darshana. So 11th chapter is about the Vishwarupa Darshana. And there we saw about the description of the Vishwarupa, who are present in Vishwarupa, who saw the Vishwarupa, the Kala Rupa, Arjuna's prayers. And then finally, Lord again speaks about Bhakti Yoga in a nutshell in 3 and 3 verses. And after that, we heard about the 12th chapter, where Arjuna asks, "Oh my Lord, very wonderful. You have explained about the Bhakti Yoga. I see you as Supreme Personality of Godhead, but could you please explain me if the impersonal way of worship is better or personal way?" There the Lord answers how personal way of worship is better. And after that, we heard about the ladder to Krishna, and then the qualities of the Lord. That's until the 12th chapter. Now in the 13th chapter, 13th chapter is also good because you will see why. It's not too dry. 13th chapter has its significance in understanding, in having the knowledge outside of the Bhakti Yoga too. When we see different terminologies, when we hear different terminologies from different people, we will be able to understand what they are. And so 13th chapter will take you to the slides, so you'll be able to see what we have today. It gets so beautiful when the Lord explains about himself as the super soul. It gets very beautiful. So that's Partha Sarathi Krishna Arjuna. So this is what we are going to hear. Looks like that, but there are only 6 things. Who is Kshetra? What is Kshetra? Kshetrajna, Jnanam, Jneyam, Prakriti, Purusha, and the eyes of knowledge. These are the 6 things we are going to hear. Yeah. I think we can go ahead and start hearing. So, yeah. So after the Lord explains all those qualities that are dear to him, Arjuna speaks. What does he say? Arjuna uvacha prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetrajnamevacham etat veditum ichchami jnanam jneyam cha Keshava. Oh Keshava. Oh dear Lord. Prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetrajnamevacha. Oh, etat veditum ichchami, veditami. I would like to know what is Prakriti, what is Purusha, what is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajna, what is Jnanam, what is Gneyam. Finish. These 6 things. I would like to know them, Keshava, please. Then, Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram Iti Abhidhiyate Etatyo Vettitam Prahuhu Kshetrajna Iti Tadvidaham. Idam Shariram Kaunteya. This body is Kshetram. Kshetram means this field of activity. This body is Kshetram, field of activity. Of who? Of the soul that is present in the body. So who is Kshetrajna? The one that is present in the body and is the knower of this body. What is happening in this body? Is it only one that is present in this body? Generally we think, yeah, soul, right? But just besides the soul, the super soul is also present. So that's what the Lord is saying. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yatta jnanamatam mama. So, field of activity body is called Kshetra. The one that is present in this body, the soul and super soul. They are Kshetrajna. The difference between the soul and super soul is the soul is the knower of an individual body, but the super soul is the knower of all the bodies. Yeah. So that's Kshetra, the body, Kshetrajna. The knower of the body, knower of the individual body is soul, knower of all the bodies is super soul. Now, about the body, about this field of material, field of activity. Such a fancy definition and shastric description. We just call it as body. This is the field of material activity. Not just this, what else in the body? Mahabhutani ahankaro buddhiravyaktamev evacha indriyani dasaikam cha panchendriya gocharaha ichcha dvesha sukham dukkham sangataschetana etat kshetram samasena savikaram udahritam. What is kshetra? Kshetra is this Mahabhutani, the Panchabhutas, Bhumi, Rapo, Ranalo, Vayu, the five elements: earth, water, earth, fire, ether, ego, air, plus ahankara, buddhir, and mind. Indriyani, the psycham. Indriyani is the senses. There are senses. There are karma yogas and jnana yogas. And in the senses is also included mind. So mind, intelligence, ahamkara, karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, and the panchamahabhutas. All of them, they are in this kshetra. And not just that, but whatever is happening in this field of activity, in this body, because the mind is present, the intelligence is present, the ahankara is present. So there's a lot happening in this body. So all the material proceedings, material happenings in this, like ichcha, dvesha, sukham, dukkham, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, chetana, dhriti, yeah, the life symptoms and the convictions, samasena, all of them together. So basically, these material elements and the interactions of these material elements, and the proceedings of this, functionalities of this material elements, especially the mind, the intelligence, and false ego. That's where all this ichcha, dvesha, sukham, dukkham, all of them come. So all this together is kshetra, the field of activity. All these material elements plus the proceedings of the material elements. And now, that's kshetra. And also the Lord, after explaining who is kshetra and kshetrajna, here he says, the Lord says, kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yatta jnanam matam mama. To the third question, what is jnanam? Kshetra explained. Kshetrajna explained as soul and super soul. Third one, jnanam. What is jnanam? Knowledge. Kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam. Yatta jnanam matam. The knowledge pertaining to this field of activity, the body, and whoever is in the body, the soul and super soul. So that is knowledge. And what are the different elements of the knowledge? In other words, how is it one can obtain this knowledge? What qualities? What qualities are needed? What is it that one needs to realize that knowledge of the kshetra and kshetrajna? These 6 of the shlokas, 12, yeah. So 5 of them are beautiful ones. Jnanam, the constituents of knowledge, through which knowledge can be obtained. Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam saucham stairyam atma vinigraha indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam asaktir Anabhisvangaha putradara grihadishu nityam cha samachittvatvam ishtanishtopapatishu Mayi chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aratir jana samsadi adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam eta jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yadadonyatha. Very, very, very nice shlokas. Sri Bhagavan, Lord Krishna is very kindly, mercifully revealing to us and Arjuna how to obtain the transcendental knowledge, how to actually realize the transcendental knowledge. The Lord is saying, whatever I have enumerated so far is jnanam, is knowledge. Everything else is ajnanam, is darkness, ignorance. So what is it that the Lord is saying that constitutes knowledge or helps us to have realized knowledge? Dear devotees, today's katha, two chunks are there, main ones. This is the one. What is this jnanam? And the second one is about the super soul. About the super soul is more of a meditative aspect, beautiful. But this one here, now we are going to hear, are like torchlights for us. And amongst all of them, there is one thing that can bring everything else. So let's see what helps us to realize the transcendental knowledge. Again, jnanam, knowledge. Knowledge can just stop as information in the upper chamber. But for the knowledge to be realized, to get into the heart and stay there, then what is needed to have that knowledge realized? Amanitvam adhambitvam ahimsa kshantirajyavam amanitvam. Amanitvam is amana. We are not expecting respect. That's actually amanitvam. When we hear it, but when we just step back and ponder our role, how insignificant we are, how vulnerable we are, how bombarded we are with the modes, then that will bring us to a place of seeing the reality of how insignificant we are, how vulnerable we are, like that. So then there is not a lot of respect that we would expect. Humility comes. So humility is nothing but seeing the reality. Yeah, amanitvam. Adambitvam. Then there will be no damba. When we are seeing the reality as such, then there will be no pride.
without gutli kaat lena, without chekkal.
Ahimsa kshantir arjavam. Ahimsa is non-violence. Just one word, ahimsa, non-violence. This is just Gita Pravaha. That's why we are just mentioning the qualities and then moving on. But each one of them, when they're pondered, understood, and applied from a gross level to the subtle level, even just one quality will get our bhakti so much deeper. Ahimsa, right there, non-violence. What to say? Just that is enough. We'll move on. So, non-violence, kshantir, simplicity. Simplicity is this. Simplicity is again actually seeing the truth. But to see the truth, there's a lot of defective software that comes in between. This mind and intelligence and ego just clouds us. Seeing the truth is just seeing the sun shining. But when this mind, intelligence, and ego comes and covers the cloud, We don't see the sun. We see it is little dark there. It is little more light there. We see something other than the sun. So simplicity, Kshanti is simplicity. Yeah. Sorry, Kshanti is tolerance. Arjavam, simplicity. Acharyopasanam, Shaucham. Acharya Upasanam. Upasanam is worship. We heard about Bhagavat Upasana. But Bhagavan is saying Acharya Upasana. You should do Acharya Upasana. Shaucham, cleanliness. Stairyam, steadiness. Atma Vinigraha, self-control. Oh, each one of them, they're looking like mountains for us. Each one of them, so many mountains like that. Nevertheless, we will hear and we will see how all these mountains, how all of these beautiful mountains, one is taken to all of these beautiful mountains. We will see, we will hear that also. But let's hear all those very beautiful jewel-studded mountains. Indriyardeshu vairagyam. Indriyardeshu vairagyam. Indriyardeshu, to interact with the sense objects. So losing interest for any sense indulgence. Anahankara evacha. Anahankara, absence of false ego. Just that is enough, right? Janma mrityu jara vyadir dukkha doshanu darshanam. Again, seeing the reality. Oh, how this disease, old age, birth, death, disease, and old age is very pain-giving. So seeing that reality. Asaktir, there is no asaktir, no attachment, anabhisvangaha. This is more like nirliptata, anasaktata. Not too eager to interact, associate, attach to things of this world, to the thoughts of this world. Let me put it that way. Because external happenings are just because of the internal thing. The attachments to the thoughts of this world. Not having attachment to the thoughts of this world. Putradara grihadishu anabhisvangaha putradhara grihadishu. To the objects of this world, to the family. Putra, son, wife, husband, griha, house. Not having attachment to these. But the fact is, it's not about the external attachment. We all are grihasthas. We're all devotee families. How am I seeing my family member? Am I seeing in my bodily relationship as husband, as wife, as daughter, as son, or as Krishna's? That's the point. Nityam cha samachittatvam ishta anishtopapattishu. Nityam cha samachittatvam. Chitta always in sama. Sama equipoised chitta. Ishta anishtopapattishu. Despite pleasant and unpleasant experiences, events. How beautiful is that, right? Just imagine, dear devotees, something that was unpleasant in the past before we came to bhakti. And that unpleasant is not so much about what's happening outside. Yeah, andar. Something unpleasant. Those two people interacting that way, it's so unpleasant to me inside. That is before bhakti, okay? And after coming to the bhakti process, and when we start doing the bhakti, when we see that the same two people now interacting and it's not causing any unpleasantness inside, wow. Ishta anishtopapattisha. So bhakti is more about change from within. internal transformation. There's no need for anything to change externally. But yeah, these are the qualities. And what are the other qualities? Not these are, I would not call them as qualities. We could see them as tools to get to the to tools to realize the knowledge, to realize the transcendental knowledge, to tools or qualities, to realize the transcendental knowledge. What more? Mayi chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini. Lord Krishna is saying, this is coming. Mayi cha ananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini. Avyabhicharini, non-contaminated, non-polluted, ananya yogena, with no deviation. Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti with no deviation and no pollution actually. Yes, no dilution, no deviation, Krishna Bhakti. Vivikta desha sevitvam arate jana samsadi. Actually, Vivikta desha sevitvam, wanting to be by themselves. Let's put it that way. Here it says aspiring to live in a solitary place. We don't necessarily have to go to solitary place, and it's not possible in this day and age to just stay in the solitary place physically for a long period of time. But learning to be with ourselves, even in the midst of the crowd, even in the midst of the people, learning to be with ourselves. Vivikta desha sevitvam. Padmapatra ivambasa, like the water drop on the lotus leaf, untouched. So learning to be with ourselves even in the crowd. Vivikta desha sevitvam. Aratir jana samsadi. Detachment from the general mass of people. Again, it's not that we don't go to crowded places, but we are not influenced by the crowd around. We are clear about where we need to be. And then we are with ourselves despite the chaos in the crowd or commotion in the crowd. I like that. How is that possible? Mai chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini. How is that possible? Mai chananya yogena. Undeviated, unpolluted, undiluted devotion to the Lord. We'll come to that in the words of Srila Prabhupada soon. And what are the other last few ones here described? Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam. Always wanting to be situated in the transcendental knowledge, on the transcendental platform, wanting to be situated. Always adhyatma jnana. Shastra chakshu. Yeah, wanting to be situated. Tattva jnanartha darshanam. Tattva jnanartha darshanam. How beautiful. Like Prahlad Maharaj, like Haridas Thakur, like Srila Prabhupada. And they are tattva jnanis. They don't see through the mind. First of all, they don't even have a material mind. They don't. Everything is Krishna for them. But they don't see through the material mind. They don't see through the material intelligence. They don't see through the rational thinking. No, they just see through tattva. Otherwise, why would Haridas Thakur say, oh, alas, I am seeing the proceedings of external energy on this Nawab. I see how he is bewildered and he is giving me death sentence. This is what Haridas Thakur was thinking. was thinking, and his response was this when he got the death sentence from Nawab, because he's a Tattvadarshi. He was seeing the world through the eyes of Tattva. So, eta jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yad adho anyatha. So, all these are considered jnana, and everything else is ajnana, says the Lord. Srila Prabhupada says, he mentions all of these qualities. Yeah. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control. And if I read all of this, we will feel a little overwhelmed because each one of them is like a mountain. But Srila Prabhupada says something very beautiful. He says, that shloka. Yat asti bhaktir bhagavati and yatra asti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana tatrair sarvair samasateir tatrair gunair sarvair gunair samasate suraha harau abhaktasya kuto mahat gunat manoradhena dhavati asati bahi. There are many things in that shloka, but one thing is Yasya asti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. When there is akinchana bhakti to Bhagavan, tatrair sarvair gunair samasate suraha. All the qualities of the demigods come and reside. Srila Prabhupada says this and then says, that's why whoever does this acharya upasana, approach the bona fide spiritual master, they will be able to do Maicha Ananyena Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhicharina. By Acharya Upasana, one can do unpolluted, undeviated bhakti to Bhagavan. And as one is wanting to head that way, as one is even wanting to head that way, all the qualities will come. We don't have to separately cultivate them. So, with the Acharya Upasana and Acharya Upasana, Guru Nishtha, that only that can take us to that Ananya Bhakti, Avyabhichari Bhakti. And then all the other qualities, they just come. They just come. Yeah, that's what Srila Prabhupada says. So that's about Jnanam. And what is Jnayam? Jnayam means Jnanam is knowledge. Yeah. And we just heard what are the elements of knowledge. And what is this all for? To know what? Jnayam is object of knowledge. To know what? To know who? Jnayam yat tat pravikshami yajnatvam ashnute anadi mat param brahma nasattan nasat uchyate. Lord is saying, he has described Jnanam. And he also says, Lord Krishna says after this, only my devotee can understand this knowledge and can realize it. He says that. And after that, he says about the Jnayam. Now, Arjuna, I am going to speak about this Jnayam, the object of knowledge. And you know, Arjuna, Yajnatva amrutam ashnute. Now drink this nectar. I'm going to give you, Arjuna. This amrita, this nectar of the object of knowledge. Because now the super soul is going to come because he's the object of the knowledge. The description of the super soul. So Bhagavan is saying, Yajnatva amritam ashnute. Get ready, Arjuna. Drink this nectar. Sarvatah panipadam tat sarvatokshisiromukham sarvatah shrutimaloke sarvamavritya tishtati. This jnayam, this object of knowledge, Lord Krishna doesn't really give the name in the very beginning. He says, the Lord says, this object of knowledge is Sarvatah Panipadam Tata. For here, for the understanding's sake, it is already mentioned here as the super soul, but because the description has to go on. So the super soul has this object of knowledge. I mean, the knowledge is meant to know this super soul. And what about this super soul? Where is he? How is he? Sarvatah Panipadam Tat. Does he have a form? Is that material? Is that spiritual? Sarvata Padam Tat. Everywhere are his feet. Pani, hands. Padam, feet. Sarvato Akshi Siro Mukham. Everywhere are his eyes. Akshi, Shiro. Head and Mukham. Everywhere are his eyes, the face, and head. Sarvata Shrutimal Loke. Everywhere are his ears. Sarvam Avritya Tishtati. He is present everywhere. So Super Soul is present everywhere, and he has hands everywhere, feet everywhere, eyes everywhere, heads everywhere, faces everywhere, ears everywhere. Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam, Asaktam Sarvabruchaiva, Nirgunam Gunabhoktracha. How beautiful. Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. He is the origin of all the Indriyas. But he does not have the senses, material senses. He is the origin of all the material senses because he is the very origin of, he is the cause of the Sarga, primary creation. And from the Sarga comes Visarga, all this secondary creation, right? So in that way, this super soul is the origin of all these material senses, but he doesn't have any material senses. Asaktam sarva pruchaiva. He's asaktam, he's unattached. Although sarva pruchaiva, although he's a maintainer of all living beings, he's still not attached to them, attached to these proceedings of maintenance. He maintains, but is not attached to it. Nirgunam gunabhoktracha. Although he is the master of all the modes, he is devoid of any material modes. What else? Bahirantascha bhutanam acharam charamevacha sukshmatvat tadavijneyam durastam chantike chatata. Very nice. Bahirantascha bhutanam. In all the living entities, he is present inside and outside. Acharam charamevacha. All the living entities that are movable and immovable, the Lord, Super Soul, is present inside and outside. Sukshmastvat tad avijneyam. Sukshmastvat. Very subtle. Tad avijneyam. He is not knowable with material senses. Durastam cha antike chatat. Antike chatat. He's very close, very near. Like who? The Paramatma sitting in the heart. Durastam. He's also dura, very far. Why is he very far? Because between this Atma and Paramatma, between the soul and super soul, these are big clouds sitting and making it seem that the super soul is so far and separate. right? The illusory energy. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam eva cha sthitam bhuta bharta cha tadagneyam grashishnu prabhavishnu cha. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam eva cha sthitam. Avibhaktam cha, though super soul is not divided, there are not many super souls. There's only one super soul. There are many bodies, many people. There are 8,400,000 species. There are many people. But there are not many super souls. It is only one super soul that is present in all the living entities. It is only one thread that is running through all the pearls in the pearl necklace. So people may be many, bodies may be many, they may look different, but there is only one super soul within all these bodies. You're like, wait a minute. Bhuta bhartarcha tadagneyam grashishnu prabhavishnu cha. He's Bhuta bhartarcha tadagneyam. He is the maintainer of all these living entities. Not just that. Grashishnu prabhavishnu cha. When the bodies of these material entities, when the bodies of these living entities have to be disintegrated and destroyed, then yes, the very same Lord, he devours, and Prabhavishnu cha, he develops. So he is the origin, he is the maintainer, and he is the reason why this living entities, material bodies are maintained and also destroyed. The super soul, that is, there's one super soul that is present in all the living entities. Jyotisham apita jyotis tamasa paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. He's the Jyoti of all Jyotis. He's the source of light for everything that is luminous. Tamasa paramuchyate. He's beyond the ignorance. Beyond the ignorance. Paramam, transcendental, beyond the ignorance. Jnanam, jneyam, jnanagamyam. Did you see, dear devotees? This Lord Krishna is speaking in the section of who is jneyam, who is the knower of the object of the knowledge, who is to be known. That's how the whole thing started. But now Bhagavan is saying, this super soul is jnanam, jneyam, jnanagamyam, everything. Is the knowledge. He is the object of the knowledge. He is the goal of the knowledge. Where is he? Hridi sarvasya vishtitam. He is present in the heart of all living entities. And this is 8. Actually, there's it will come. Yeah, so this is about the super soul, who is the object of knowledge. So all the knowledge, these are the constituents of knowledge. With all these qualities, amanitvam, adambitvam, the list of qualities hai na? Especially with acharyopasanam, through ananyavena yogena bhakti. Okay, let's say this. With all this list of qualities, what is to be known? Who is to be known? This object, the super soul, the object of knowledge, is to be known. Means, with all these qualities, headed by Acharya Upasanam, will make a person realize the knowledge one is hearing or accumulating. So with these, only with these qualities, with all these qualities that are mentioned here, the knowledge will turn into a realized knowledge. The knowledge will, the substance from the mind will get into the heart with these qualities. With these qualities, creativities. If we wonder, what can we do for all this information in this upper chamber to sink into the heart beautifully and have some realizations? These are the qualities needed. These are the qualities needed. Then the knowledge will be realized. The knowledge will be realized, and the object of the knowledge is perceived. Yeah, so that's Jnayam. And now, after answering those, there are the other two questions, right? Who is Purusha? Who is Prakriti? What is Prakriti? What is Purusha? And for those two, what is Bhagavan answering? Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadi Ubhavapi Vikarams Gunams Chaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadi. They are Anadi. Material nature is manifested during the Visarga, but eternally present as Pradhan. Jiva is also eternally present. That's why Bhagavad Gita deals with the 5 eternal objects. Prakriti, Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Karma. So Prakriti is also eternal. Jiva is also eternal. Karya Karana Kartatve Hetu Prakriti Ruchyate Purusha Sukha Dukhanam Bhoktrutve Hetu Ruchyate. Now the Lord is saying. Now that the Lord is saying, this is about Prakriti and Purusha. Okay? The matter and the soul. We can imagine this one. You know the watermelon, huh? And the watermelon, all the red pulp can be like the matter, and the black seeds can be the soul. Okay? There, Karya Karana Kartatve Hetur Prakriti Ruchyate. Any of these material cause and effects are by material energy. While all this is happening in the material energy, who is experiencing it? Purusha Sukha Dukkhanam Bhoktva Hetu Ruchyate. Though everything is happening because of the modes, the one who is experiencing the modes is the Purusha, soul. Purusha Prakritis hi bhunte Prakriti Jan Gunam Karanam Guna Sangasya Sadasat Yoni Janmashu. It is because of this interaction with these modes. Bhunte Prakriti Jan Guna. Bhunte is like enjoying. We wonder, what? A soul enjoying the mode, and maybe in a little bit of passionate mode, enjoyment may happen. Soul can enjoy ignorance too, yeah. Bhunter. The soul, because it enjoys the modes and is associated with the modes, this will cause the soul to have, to take different material bodies. Sat asat yoni janmashu. This interaction with the modes will cause the soul to take different bodies in different sources among different species. That's about Purusha, Prakriti. So, Prakriti, yes. Purusha. Is there only one Purusha? Purusha, soul, and the other Purusha is the super soul. In the same body, Purusha is there and the super soul is there too. So we heard about the soul so far. Because of the Prakriti or modes, the soul is experiencing happiness or distress. But there is also one more Purusha that is present in this Prakriti, in this body. Who is that? The super soul. We just heard about Jnayam, the object of knowledge. There we heard about, more like knowledge of the super soul. Now we will hear a little more about the super soul. What does he do? Upadrishta cha anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwarah paramatmeti chapi yukto dehesmin purusha paraha. And this is what I was talking about. The Lord, after he explains what is Prakriti, he says who is Purusha, that is the soul. And then he says, there is one more in this Prakriti who is Upadrishta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwaraha, who is Upadrishta is overseer, supervisor, overseer. Anumanta cha, permitter. According to the previous karma, what should the soul get now? Okay, that was a bad karma in the past, so the soul should get. I will permit the soul to get bad karma. The soul has done good karma in the past, so I will permit the good things, materially good things happen to this soul. So the karma list. That expansion of the Lord, who is sitting in the heart and is performing these functions of overseeing the soul's actions, witnessing the soul's actions of who is doing what, and as they change the bodies, permitting them to get the reactions of whatever karma they have done in the past, good or bad. So these two functionalities, and Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. Who is this personality doing these two functions? He is the very Lord. He is the transcendental enjoyer. And he is the supreme proprietor. And he is Paramatma. Paramatmeti chapi yukto. He is known as Paramatma. In the movies, when the hero needs to be introduced, how so many things happen. And before the face of the hero is shown, from the left, from the right, from the top, from the bottom, from everywhere, all the colors, all the musics, everything. And then at the very end, the face of the hero or the heroine will be shown like that. All the functionalities of this Purusha, the Supreme Purusha, functionalities are mentioned. He's the Upadrishtacha, he's Anumantacha, he's the Bharta, he's the Bhokta, he's Maheshwara, and no, Arjuna. He is the Paramatma. So that's Paramatma. Dhyanenatmani pashyanti kechidatmanamatmana anye sankhena yogena karma yogena chapare. And this is the Paramatma that everybody is trying to reach and know. In Dhyana Yoga, this is the Paramatma they are wanting to, desiring to have darshan of, pashyanti, to see in the heart of their hearts, in their soul, as a super soul. And anye sankhena yogena karma yogena chapi, in the Sankhya Yoga too, in the karma yoga, the nishkama karma yoga too, in all kinds of yoga. He is the Lord that everybody wants to have darshan of, see him. He is the Paramatma. Nobody is fit to glorify. It's only the Lord and the pure devotees. All the glorification is just so beautifully meant for them. The words are glorified. They become glorified when used in the glorification of Bhagavan and pure devotees. And last, Anyetva evam ajananta shrutya shrutvanyebhya upasate tepi chati taranti eva mrutyum shruti parayanaha. Mrutyum shruti parayanaha. Yeah. This is good. How beautiful is this? We actually belong to this category. See, super soul who has all those qualities, all the pure devotees, they have all those qualities, the list of qualities that we have heard in the Jnanam. They have the Acharya Upasana, and they have Ananyaineva Bhakti Yogena. They have all that. And they say, this is super soul, this is Krishna sitting in the heart. They say that, they perceive it, and they perceive him. But there are some who do not know about the super soul. Anyetva evam ajananta. They do not know about the super soul, but shrutva anyebhya upasate. But by knowing, by hearing about this Lord, they will start worshipping. What happens to them? Tepicha atitaren ati tepichati itaranti eva mrutyum shruti parayanaha. Even for them, because they have heard and with great faith, they are doing the worship. Because of their tendency to hear from the authorities. Hearing happens. Hearing happens from morning till evening. Hearing happens. From different sources, hearing happens. With the amount of hearing we do. If there is a strong drop of faith, then there will be so much happening. Tendency to hear from authorities. Actual hearing is, we don't hear the mind. And we don't hear so-called rational thinking. We hear as it is. There is no mind busyness there. There is no intellectual chaos there. There is nothing there. So hearing as it is tendency to hear from authorities. Then they also transcend the path of birth and death. Right. So that's Jnanam, Jnayam, all the 6 elements described as the Lord described. And the final thing is, now that I have described all of this, Arjuna, this is what Jnana Chakshu means. Do you know what is this creation composed of? I've told you about this kshetra, the body. Yavat sanjayate kinchet sattvam stavara jangamam. Kshetra kshetrajna samyoga tadvidhi bharatarshambham. We hear this. In a nutshell, this creation is nothing but kshetra and kshetrajna. The combination of kshetra and kshetrajna. That's all. Everywhere you see, it's just the souls and the material nature around the souls. That's all. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. Okay. Everywhere you see, all around, wherever you see, it's all ocean of material elements. And in this ocean of material elements are the jivas. Okay. Is that what you're seeing? Is that the perfect seeing? What is the perfect seeing? Who is seeing it perfectly when they look around? Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsvu avinishyantam yah pashyati sa pashyati. Whoever is seeing the Parameshwaram, Super Soul, that is Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu, that is present in all the living entities, that is Super Soul that is situated in all the living entities. When he is seen, when this Super Soul who does not have, who is always present, even when the body is destroyed, whoever is seeing this Super Soul is the perfect seer. Beautiful, huh? So when we look around, are we seeing the modes? Is that Tattvadarshi? Is that soul, super soul? Who is the perfect seer? This is the perfect seer. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. And there's one more perfect seer here. Prakritaiva cha praकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तदात्मानम् अकर्तं स पश्यति. So this seer of the super soul is the perfect seer. And who is the perfect seer of the soul? Prakritaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvasaha. All the happenings in this material world by the self, is all because of the material modes. It's not because of me, the soul. So, one who sees that the modes are in the action, it's not me, but the modes are in the action. When we are feeling sinking, when we are in the sinking energy, if one could see, oh, the modes are in action, the tamoguna is in action. When we are feeling the gushing energy, oh, the rajoguna is in action. And when we are like, peaceful, nice, I think I can manage it. I'm doing it good. Oh, the doership, goodness is in action. Like that, when one is able to see, then he's the perfect seer of the soul. In other words, who is seeing the soul only and seeing the modes as the performer of the activities. He's the perfect seer of the soul. And who approaches transcendental destination? Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavastitam ishwaram nahi nasti atmanatmanam tato yati param gatim. Beautiful one, dear devotees. We are coming to the end of it, end of this session. But this shloka is so beautiful. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavastitam ishwaram nahi nasti atmanatmanam. Who samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavastitam ishwaram. Ishwaram is already samavastitam. The Lord is already present everywhere, equally present everywhere. In those so-called who I like, so-called who I don't like, so-called my enemy, so-called my friend. This enemy friend is such a amazing concept, because it doesn't take more than a second for an enemy to become friend and friend to become enemy. It can just happen like that. But the greatest illusion is we are so much fixed with this label of enemy and friend. But here, sarvam cha samavastitam. The Lord is present equally in every living entity. When samam pashyan hi sarvatra, when someone is able to see like that everywhere equally, then nahi nasti atmanatmanam. Then one will not degrade himself by his mind. One will not degrade oneself by their mind when one can see the super soul that is present in everyone equally. That person, tato yati param gatim. That person can attain that transcendental destination. That is how transcendental platform, one goes to the transcendental platform. When we go beyond all the labels. And who attains Brahman conception? That's very similar. Yada bhuta pratak bhavam ekastam anupashyati tada eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. Brahma sampadyate tada. They will attain Brahman. Yada bhuta pratak bhavam ekastam anupashyati. Even though there are multiple bodies, multiple identities that we see, But ekastam anupashyati. If one is able to see oneness in all this variegatedness, in other words, there may be so many bodies, but if one is able to see that spiritual spark that is present everywhere, one spiritual spark that is present, who has that spiritual vision, then Brahma sampatyate tada. Then they will attain to this Brahman conception. Brahman is transcendental position. So one who has spiritual vision will attain the transcendental position. Who has the vision of eternity. Anaditvan nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyayaham sharirastopi kaunteya nakaroti nalipyate. Last shloka. So now the Lord has explained all those jnanam, jneyam, kshetra, kshetrajna, purusha, prakriti. And after that, he has explained jnana chakshu, means the eyes of knowledge. In the light of all the knowledge that I have given to you, Arjuna, the 6 elements, if one has these eyes of knowledge, then they will see like this. And that's what we have heard so far. And the last one is Anaditva nirgunatvat param atmanam avyayam. When somebody sees this atma, soul, as anaditva, which doesn't have any beginning, nirgunatvat, that it doesn't have any material modes, doesn't belong to the material modes, paramam, it is transcendental, avyayam is imperishable. When one sees the soul like that, even though they are present in this body, sharirastopi kaunteya nakaroti nalipyate, they are not entangled anymore. So one who has this spiritual vision, though they are present in this body, though we are embodied, when we have spiritual vision, then we are not entangled, says the Lord. That's all, dear devotees. So that's the beautiful 13th chapter. So what did we hear? Kshetra, Kshetrajna Yoga. We heard about Kshetra, which is the field of activity, and also the proceedings of the material activity, like hatred, raga, dvesha, hatred and desire, all that. That is Kshetra. Kshetrajna is the knower of the field of activity. 2 are there. One is soul, who is the knower of individual body, and the super soul, who is the knower of all the bodies. Jnanam is a knowledge of the Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the field of activity and the knower of the field of activity, the soul and super soul. That is called Jnanam. What is the process of acquiring knowledge? We have heard as elements, the 20 elements of knowledge, that we have heard. And who is the object of knowledge? Jneyam. Soul is there, but the super soul. Super soul is the object of knowledge. And then after that, we heard about Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti is there. Purusha, there are 2 Purushas. Soul is also Purusha. Purusha means enjoyer. The fake, temporary, so-called enjoyer, the soul in the body. One Purusha and the Parama Purusha, super soul. That we have heard about the Prakriti Purusha. And finally, the Jnana Chakshu. In light of all these knowledge, how would one see? That is Jnana Chakshu. That's what we heard, dear devotees. And beautiful things are especially about the Jnana and the elements of knowledge, and how Srila Prabhupada has mentioned the Acharya Upasana gives us the Ananya Bhakti, undiluted Bhakti, and also that beautiful description of the super soul. And we also heard the functionalities of the super soul. In that way, there is something about Bhagavan here also in 13th chapter. That's all, dear devotees. Thank you all so very much. If you don't have anything